Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Defining Discipline podcast. I'm your host, Scott. Defining discipline is a lifestyle, a mentality, and a brand. And within this podcast, we're going to focus on self-improvement as you follow along with me on my journey. We're also going to hear from special guests of all walks of life on this podcast and their remarkable journeys that led them to where they are today. As you can tell, today will be another solo episode. But before we get started in today's episode, I'm going to do a quick update. Today is day 23 out of the journey so far. The goal was to hit 365 days out of the year of running. Today I ran 3.2 miles, and that's a total of 76.4 for the year and the month. My goal is to hit 1250 for the year, so slow, steady pace, but we're on track. Besides that, feel pretty good still. Muscles still feeling a little sore, legs feeling a little heavy today. I'm supposed to go run, I think 7 or 8 tomorrow, and it's going to be a trail. It's going to be icy and snowy. It's early in the morning. I'm meeting my buddy Joe out there. So we'll see how that works out. It might be, not fun. It's not gonna be fun. It's gonna be worth it though. It's gonna be work, and I need it because I got the 50K coming up in June that I gotta try to really hit. And it's a trail as well, the 50K, so it's going to be a lot of elevation up and down, so I got to get used to it, and I need to put the work in, and it's going to be interesting. We're going to test out the some new shoes I got. I think episode, around 31 or 30, or 32, 33, I think, after the month's over, I'm going to kind of touch back up on some gear, so I'll let you know. I did get some new shoes. We'll talk about them. And some other cool things, some gadgets we'll talk about. We won't talk about that today. But I did mention for the month, I am at 76.4 miles. Speaking of that, for the month of January, I am running a fundraiser for the American Cancer Society. The fundraiser is through Facebook, and all the donations that get made will go directly to the fundraiser. Nothing will... Facebook gets no percentage of that, so it's a really cool thing. And we set out originally to hit 200, and we hit that goal. So we pushed it to 300, and we hit that goal. So now we pushed it to 400. As of now, we hit 320. I want to thank Kaylin for her donation. Thank you so much. We are now one step closer, and let's keep these donations coming in, guys. It's going to a good cause. So I know a lot of people are kind of hard up for cash right now, but you could at least know that it's going somewhere. That's good. You're not just wasting money. It's going to help hopefully lots of people. Other than that, I guess let's kind of kick into today's episode. Today is day 23. Today is episode 23. Today is January 23rd. 2021. Today's theme is going to be anamnesis. Today holds a significance to me and my family. My mom, my stepsister. There's certain events that happen that are kind of unexpected and you're not prepared for them. And things happen, and then that day kind of forever becomes tainted, you could say. Um, you know, I remember this day exactly 8 years ago, where I was, what I was doing. I remember at the time I was working at a golf course in Florida as a security guard, a night security guard. And I'd just gotten, to work and kind of settled in. And I was able, at that job, I kind of just, I don't know, it was a really good job, but I kind of blew it off all the time and didn't, I remember a lot of it, I would just kind of just hang out all night, stay up all night and just kind of watch like Netflix and stuff like that and put all my work off to the last minute that I had to get done and didn't really care about it. Sometimes I'd even get, I'd smoke weed there sometimes and get high. And I do remember that night I got high early on and was just kind of sitting there watching Netflix. And I kind of got late. I always, I know personally, my mom, she is a person that's usually in bed by like a certain time, super early and stuff. And at the time, she was actually in Kentucky visiting her family, my mama and her sister, my aunt, and she was down there, and I just, vividly remember getting that call from her, and me just kind of like, not nothing, like just thinking like, what's she calling me for? And I just remember answering the phone and her just crying and just being completely broken up. And she called me to tell me my stepfather passed away. I just remember it like it still doesn't. It doesn't seem real. It didn't seem real. It was like in those kind of moments when just shock just kind of just fills your whole entire system up and you don't know like what's real. Like it didn't, and it's so hard. It feels like it felt like a dream, obviously. Like I've been like, but it wasn't. I don't know. It's hard. It's so hard for anyone that's ever lost someone close to them. They know that it's a hole that gets left that you just try to fill, and then you try the whole time, you just try to think and you try to make sense of it. You try to figure out why. Then you start asking yourself questions like, why him? And you start thinking of other people and you're thinking like, why couldn't, he's such a good man. He did so many good things for me. My mom was just completely, and still is, just completely broken apart. And I'll never forget that day because my life has never been the same and her life's never been the same. And it's kind of hard to just still to continue on, through holidays, anytime we get together, for my wedding, it just didn't feel right without him there. I know life goes on, and I know he wouldn't want us to dwell, and he wants us to continue and move on with our lives and to do things. And that was one thing that still always haunts me, is that he always treated me like his son. He took such good care of me and did so many things for me. When I played hockey, he was at every single one of my hockey games. He treated me like his own son, and he'd always give me the best advice. And at the time, I was so young and so like stuck into like my way of thinking that like I really wish I could go back and I could just absorb as much of it as I should have. I regret not calling him more and talking to him. I feel so bad because I'd always call to talk to my mom, and he'd always call. When I'd call and he'd answer, he'd always talk to me. And then I'd always ask him, "Hey, can I talk to my mom?" He goes, "You could talk to me sometimes." And I liked talking to him. It wasn't that I didn't want to talk to him. It's just at that time I was selfish, and anytime I needed to talk, it was just to talk to my mom, to ask her for something or her advice. And same thing, I would talk to him, but I felt like I never called just to talk to him, and I feel so bad, and I wish I could go back, and I wish he could still be here today. And now I'm having my first child ever, and I just wish he could be a part of it. I wish he could be here. This past year, we put our dog down. That was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life as well. To sit in the room and watch as she passed. And I know everyone goes through hardships and everyone is going to die. But I don't know, I wish it would get easier, but I know it's never going to. And I know some days are easier than others. There's so many, and it's days like these that make you think of other days. Remind you of other things, like I said, like my dog, or like my grandma, my dad's side, who died on his birthday. Life is short. Life is precious. So make sure that you tell those people around you that you love them. And even when you're annoyed of, them talking to you on the phone for so long, or them just trying to do things for you, just remember one day they're not going to be there when you need them. So try to live every day like that. And remember those people that were in your life that are no longer here. Try to be a better person and honor them. Try to follow through with what you're meant to do. Today's just about remembering. So, for your daily discipline today, remember those that you've lost. Remember those that you still hold close to your heart and you wish were here today. on your journey. I wish, it's one thing, it's funny how the world works, but it's like my stepdad was such into being healthy and working out, and he would take me to hockey games and always try to take me to the gym to work out with him, and I just never got into it. I never wanted to take care of myself. At the time, all I could think about was partying and girls and playing music, and didn't care about working out, taking care of myself. And it's like now I'm here at this point in my life where all I want to do is take care of myself so I can live a long life and spend it with the people I love. It's like I wish he was here just so I could talk to him and just so he could see. I know how proud he would be that I've stepped up and I've done this. And he bought me, before he passed for Christmas, he bought me a really nice guitar I've always wanted. Because I was playing so much music at the time, and that was my job at the time, was at a band I was in and making money. And I feel so bad because after he bought it, he passed a month later. And then it was like that reality that hit me. And I basically just quit playing. I haven't really even touched guitar. That I've played a little bit here and there, but it's like that reality of death and of his loss and how real life is and how quick it can just be taken away. It made me kind of straighten up and want to settle down. I kind of wanted to figure out what I was doing with my life, and it's when I met my wife, we started dating. It's been 8 years to the day that he passed. I love you, Rick, and I miss you so much. And I know my mom misses you so much more. You were such a good stepfather. And I just want to make you proud. For today's daily discipline, remember those you've lost. Remember those you love. Remember those you keep close to your heart. Honor them. Carry on their legacy and be the best you can be for them. That's pretty much it. I want to thank you guys for listening. This podcast has given me a good regimen and a good schedule to follow, and these goals I'm trying to hit. It's got me on a good schedule. That's all I can say. And I honestly thank you guys for listening so much. And I'm probably just rambling mostly to myself, but I really appreciate it. If you guys can, just give me a follow on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. You can find us on all the podcast platforms. Listen along. This is the Defining Discipline podcast. I'm your host, Scott. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.